Hi guys, happy Thursday, and my nose ring is screwy again. Damn it. Alright, so we're gonna go to part 3 on, part 3 from yesterday. So, are you guys doing any kind of talismanic magic? Are you guys charging them in the Kabbalistic way? Or are you doing the regular, traditional, pagan way? So, I'm doing the old pagan way. I can't. Don't have the patience to understand. Well, I understand it. I just don't have the patience to fucking sit down and do it the Kabbalistic way. Maybe if I was a little more focused and not so ADHD. So, alright. Okay, so we're going to go into part 3, lesson 8, and modern magic. 11 Lessons in the High Magical Arts by Donald Michael Craig. So, alright guys. Alright, now one of the famous stories concerning S.L. MacGregor Mathers. Oh, okay, yeah. A founding, you guys know who that is? I do. A founder and driving force behind the Golden Dawn. Oh wow, I didn't know that he was completely behind the Golden Dawn. Okay, concerns peas. So it seems that he had some enemies within the order, and he wished to get rid of them. So he took some peas and baptized them with the same names as the people of whom he wished to be free. Then he swirled them in a sieve, with the idea being that as the peas went down the sieve, so too would his enemies have a downfall. Ooh, I like this. Alright, let's go. Several people I know who claim to be occultists have made fun of Mathers over this. They felt that Mathers, the head and guide of the Golden Dawn, should have used ceremonial magic techniques, and not what seems like low magic. So it's certainly possible that the exact details of Mathers' actions were incorrectly reported or misinterpreted, because I doubt that Mathers would have let any uninitiated person watch him perform the ritual. I like the idea of peace. So, isn't it possible that Mathers, or the initiated person reporting this episode, used expressions such as peas, baptize, and sieve as a trap to non-initiates? That's interesting. So initiates would be able to figure out that these were code words for other ideas, alright? And non-initiates would have a small idea of the magical process. Okay, so I think this is not only possible, but likely. Alright, so I like this. I like that idea. Let's find out the code. So I have talked before about the meaning of initiation, and wish to bring it up again. So, in most initiations, the candidate is blindfolded. Where'd I go? Oh. Brought into a new and unfamiliar situation, and then taught about his or her surroundings. So this is similar in nature to the birth process. First, everything is dark. Ooh. Then you are thrust into a new situation about which you need to learn. Initiation is a type of rebirth. In fact, some occultists claim, much to the concentration of Christian fundamentalists, that when the Bible discusses being born again, what is really being discussed is the idea of initiation. That makes a lot more sense than being born again. So, what is baptism if it is not an initiation into a particular religion? So, did not, according to the Bible, Jesus tells... What did Jesus tell? Alright, Jesus tells his inner group of initiates, maybe, that some things they would understand, but to the masses he must speak in parables. One function of initiation is that of being born a second time into a new, more spiritual way of life. Any valid initiation ritual has this quality. I like this. So, you may wish to look at some books with initiation rituals in them to see whether or not this is correct. Wow. I like this. So, alright, he says that I feel that it is possible that in the story about Mathers, peas were used as a code name for talismans. Baptize could be a code word for initiate, and sieve a code word for the process of focusing mind power. Alright, so that does make sense, but that would be like sympathetic magic. Admittedly, This is just a speculation, but if it is correct, what Mathers was doing would be strict Golden Dawn style ceremonial magic. I like it. Alright, and an initiation or a baptism can give a person a new life, a second life. Does it not follow that something inert, something without a life force, can be given a life force? Can be born for the first time and given life by the initiation process? Ooh, the Golden Dawn believes so, and as a result of my personal experience, I agree. Alright, I like this. Alright, so on the next few pages, he says, I will be giving a complete ritual for charging and consecrating a talisman. It will be your longest ritual to date, and may take up to 2 hours to perform. Wow. Although 1 to 1.5 is more the norm. Wow. So before starting, I want to show you how it works and describe the various aspects of the ritual. This is alright, so this is cool. Let's go. First, of course, are the preparations. This means planning out the ritual, gathering all the necessary tools, designing and constructing the talisman, doing the divination, preparing the area and yourself, the cleansing, setting up the temple, etc. This should all be finished just before the start of the appropriate magical hour. Alright, so if you guys remember yesterday in the video, we had the list, the charts, like crazy charts of those magical hours. So, alright, the second phase of this ritual is the Watchtower ritual. This should take at least 20 minutes by itself. Wow. Alright. Phase 3 is not done in the simple talisman charging and consecration ritual. In this phase, you enliven. You actually give form of life to the talisman via an abbreviated initiation ritual. Phase 4 includes charging the talisman by the names and symbols of the appropriate cosmic forces or beings. Phase 5 is the empowering of the talisman by force of will to a specific goal. So finally, Phase 6 concludes the ritual with the closing by the Watchtower, as described earlier in this course. That's interesting. Alright, so most rituals reach their highest peak of effectiveness when they are memorized. Yes, they do. That is the best part. So, thus memorizing the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, the Middle Pillar, and the Circulation of the Body of Light, and the Banishing Ritual of the Hexagram, and the Rose Cross Ritual makes them better and more effective. Wow. Ooh. I only have one of those memorized. Only one. So, for most forms of gray magic, memorization is impractical. Thus, it's a good idea to make up note cards with writing big enough so that you can actually read the words of the ritual. So, he says, I use a music stand. Oh, this is a good idea. I use a music stand to support 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock sheets for the purpose. Thin sheets of paper tend to slip and fall, so you may wish to do something similar. Ooh, that's a really, really good idea. Or you can get actual book stands, or like showcasing books, like I used to do with my books. Yeah, I showcase my books still to this day. My mother, she has all of my books on top of her TV showcased. I'm like, oh my god, what is my family gonna think when they see love letters from Lucifer up there? Yeah. Anyways, where was I going with this? Yeah, or like, those really cheap iPad stands, those would be perfect. I mean, really perfect. So, alright, if your magical hour is only 15 minutes long, how can you fit a 2-hour ritual into it? The answer is that Phase 1, 2, and 3 can be done just before the start of the magical hour. Alright, so Phases 4 and 5 must occur within the designated planetary hour for the greatest effectiveness. Alright, now Phase 6 may occur after the end of the planetary or magical hour. Alright, so as you follow through this ritual, you will find nothing difficult nor unusual, with perhaps one exception. At various times you will see the words ad-lib. A-D-L-I-B, ad-lib. I don't know what that means. Oh, this means that at these sections you are to freely add whatever words or actions that you deem appropriate. Alright, so yeah, a little bit of room for innovation and just creative expression. So this is not as hard as it might sound, especially if you have been practicing the teachings of this course. So for example, let's assume that there was an invocation followed by the words ad lib. I'm sure it's pronounced differently. Here's an example just pulled off the top of my head, which would be appropriate. O my Lord Adonai, thou hast permitted me to venture this far into thy temple of the mysteries. By thy glory, do not deny your servant now. Fill this talisman with thy presence for thy name's sake, not mine. For to thee is the kingdom and the power and the glory, until eternity fades to nothingness. So Motobi, that's very Christian. Alright, so it does not have to be long, although it may be. So it may be stilted or artificial. Yet, it is still a good idea to dress it up with the pseudo Old English. I love the Old English, yes, I do love that. So this serves the same function as does the putting on of the ritual robe. The robe indicates that you are not doing everyday things. The affected speech shows that you are not talking with your next door neighbor. That's better. You approach them, these celestial beings, these different entities, spirits, whatever, in this tone of Old English, and they understand it, and it's just nice, a respectful way of talking to them. Wow, that took a lot to get out. Alright, so finally the most important part of these ad lib sections is that they must be from your heart and be meaningful and deeply felt, otherwise they are useless phrases. So about as attractive to the gods as are dead flowers to us mortals. I like dead flowers, so back off. Like with my ego, I love them. Wow, we have a lot. This is a big ritual. Shit. It's really not that long. It takes 2 hours though, jeez. It's a bit much, don't you think? A bit much. Right, here is the complete ritual for charging and consecrating a talisman. So part 1, the preparations. Begin by physically cleansing your working area. So if it has had a hard floor, wash it, or at least vacuum. If you have a negative ion generator, a device which rids the air of dust particles, leave it on in your working area for a few hours before cleaning and vacuuming. Oh, and or water. I like that. I really like that idea. Wash and polish all of your magical tools too. If you have some nice music you can play in the background while you do this physical preparation, it would be nice, gentle new age music. Especially those pieces without strong rhythms or standard harmonies are appropriate. I like that. I like the whole negative ion thing. So that'd be like organ. Having organ or tower busters all through your place, or shungite. So that works perfect. So the whole of these preparations should not be thought of in terms of work. So rather you should think of these things in terms of getting dressed to go out on a Saturday night. Ooh, yeah, act like you're getting dressed for prom night. Fuck it up. Fuck it up in a good way, not a bad way. Alright, yeah, too much Iggy Azalea. But, what can I say? I love my Iggy. So while doing this physical cleaning, you should direct your thoughts to clearing the area of all unwanted or negative influences. There is so much emphasis on the divination and the physical cleansing, which I love. I love the OCD. It just kicks in and another person comes over me and it's like, oh, alright, we're gonna clean? Okay, let's do it. How much more can we clean? What can we clean? Alright, once this physical cleaning has been completed, I actually would take a lot longer to clean. I think a 3-hour cleaning would be good for me. Okay, so set up your working area so that it becomes your temple. Place appropriately colored candles around so that you will have enough light. However, since you will be leaving the area for a while, don't light them yet. If there is even a remote possibility of flame or dripping wax, starting a fire. Have all of your tools on the altar, and most importantly, have your already constructed talisman in a holder bag for it on the altar too. Make sure you have your instructions for the ritual close by. Okay, we're off to a good start. Is today Lunasad? Lugnanasad? However you say that word. I don't know. August 1st? What is it? Is it a fire festival? I forget. It's been so long. Okay. Where did I go? Shit. Alright, now when you have completed the above work, go to the doorway of the room which contains your prepared temple and look the room over. So if it is perfectly prepared as possible, spend a moment congratulating yourself on a job well done. Then take a deep breath and, as you exhale, say, "Thank you, O Lord, Grand Architect of the Universe, for thy permission to construct this temple as a tiny pale echo of thy greater creation. May thy blessings fall upon it, for thy name's sake, so mote it be." Alright, so this is where the whole cleanliness is next to godliness thing comes in, which is very true. I was always taught that if you have a clean house, a tornado will never touch it. So I don't know where that came from. My mother. Alright, so then close the door so that nobody else can enter the room. Lock the door if necessary. Note that beside asking for the grace of divinity upon the temple, we are also calling the temple a small version of the entirety of the universe. So the macrocosm of the cosmos, as above, so below. So, in this way, the altar becomes the exact center of the universe, the meeting place of balance and harmony for all elemental and planetary forces. Alright, I like this. We're getting deeper. The next step is to disconnect the telephone. No. So that if it rings, it will not disturb you. If you live with other people and cannot do this, tell them that you do not wish to be disturbed for the next few hours. And should the phone ring be for you, ask them to please take a message. Or just tell them that you're dead. I've done that a lot of times. I think it's funny. Some people might not. So finally, take a ritual cleansing bath as already described. When finished, put on your ritual robe or special clothes reserved for ritual work. If you have any special magical jewelry, now is the time to put it on too. Alright, as you put on your garments and jewelry, say, "Blessed art thou, O Lord, maker of the universe, who usest thy universe as but a footstool, for thou hast allowed me to don the robes of the magical art," or say something similar ad lib. So, just from the heart. So, upon completion of your ritual bath and donning of the robe, it should be the time to enter your magical temple. By this I mean it should be the start of the appropriate magical planetary hour, or early enough so that the important body of the ritual will take place in the time frame. So if it's too early, it is okay to enter the temple, but you should not begin the ritual. Rather, you should sit in a quiet contemplation until the correct beginning time. Makes sense? Alright. Think about what you are going to do in a few minutes. Consider the months and hours you have put in practicing the rituals, doing the spiritual exercises, and earning yourself the right to do the ritual that you will be performing shortly. And of course, also think about the awe and majesty of the divine source of all. I like that there is a little bit of Christianity worked into this, a lot of Christianity worked into this, with God, like Adonai and Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh and Jehovah, all those names. But then the divine source of all. So it's kind of a mix. I'm seeing a very large mix. Now I am. Finally, everything will be ready. You will have already done a divination. The temple is prepared. The talisman is prepared. The phase of the moon is correct. The ritual you will do is written down so you will not err. And most importantly, you are ready to begin. Part 2, Banishing and Balancing. Alright, so perform the Watchtower ritual opening. This ritual has the effect of spiritually purifying the temple. So, it is the astral equivalent to your earlier physical cleansing, so It also has the purpose and effect of balancing the magical elemental forces. I did not know that. I think I might have, but I forgot. I like this a lot. So, thus, upon completion of the Watchtower ritual, your altar becomes the focus of a perfectly balanced influx of energy from all of the magical elements. Therefore, take your time and do this ritual well. So, take your time. Must take your time. Part 3. Enlivening and consecrating the talisman. So, here we go. Step 1. While keeping yourself inside your magical circle, place the talisman outside the circle between the south and the west. Go to the altar and pick up the rainbow wand by the colored stripe appropriate to this magical working with your left hand. Take the dagger used in the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram, in your right hand and go to the southwest side of the circle. Always remember to walk clockwise in your temple unless there are specific instructions to do otherwise. Face outwards toward where the talisman lies and cross your hands in front of you so that your magical tools form an X blocking entry into the circle, and say, Before I entered this magical circle I was alive, yet not alive. Once inside I have been born anew. So too are all things outside this circle without true spiritual life. Hear now, O talisman, or amulet if it's appropriate, that thou mayest enter, but may not move on. If you prefer, this declaration may be done ad lib, from the heart. So here is a very small diagram that you guys can screenshot if you want to. That's where the talisman should be. And that just shows where, north, south, east, west, where your altar is. So if you guys can get I don't know if that's going to screenshot. There we go. Maybe. So yeah, might work. Alright. Now, step 2. Using the tip of the dagger, draw the talisman into the magical circle and say, Now, O creature of talismans, become a dwelling place of purpose of talisman, and be thou a body for the magnificence of name of Sephirah associated with this talisman, the name of the Sephirah on the Tree of Life. So step 3, pick up the talisman and place it at the foot of the altar so that it is between you and the altar when you face east. Both you and the talisman are west of the altar. And here we go. Say, in the name of, vibrate the appropriate God name, and by all the powers and forces invoked here this night, day, if none during the daylight, if done during the daylight, I proclaim that I, say your magical name, shall invoke thee to form a true and potent link between my human soul and the spirit of, give word telling purpose of the talisman, summed up in the name of, vibrate the name of the appropriate Sephirah from the Tree of Life. So, to this end I have formed and perfected this talisman, amulet if appropriate, bearing the necessary seals, sigils, and symbols. I proclaim that this talisman, or amulet, shall be charged in order that, state the purpose of the talisman, may be mine so that I may be enabled to perform the great work and be better able to assist humanity. May the powers of vibrate the appropriate Sephirah witness this my solemn pledge. The great work. Where have I heard this? The Ritual and Doctrine of High Magic. Eliphas Levi. So, step 4. Pick up the talisman, place it in the center of the top of the altar. Now put the dagger on the altar and hold the rainbow wand by the white band of color and say, I now invoke the powers of vibrate the name of the Sephirah into this temple in the name of vibrate the God name. Be here now. Know that all is in readiness to consecrate this talisman or amulet. Aid me with thy power that I may cause the great archangel, vibrate the name of the archangel, of the appropriate archangel, to give life and strength to this creature of talismans in the name of vibrate the God name. Now, step 5. Put the rainbow wand down on the altar and pick up the dagger used in the LBRP. Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. Now move east of the altar and face west. As you go through the following speech, draw the appropriate figures as you drew them on the talismans. Okay, so yeah, makes sense. Now, in the air with the dagger, they should be drawn over the talisman. Visualize them in bright blue, flecked with shimmering gold, and say, so okay, yeah, it's kind of like the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. So, I invoke the powers of vibrate the god name and draw it in the air. Bring, state your purpose, to this talisman or amulet. By the powers of name the planet and draw the symbol of it, I invoke, state your purpose, into this talisman or amulet. By this symbol, draw a symbol you used, such as from the system of AO Spare. I invoke, state your purpose, into this talisman or amulet. Now repeat this type of invocation ad lib until you have drawn each and every symbol which is on your talisman. So feel free to turn the talisman over and open it up so that you can see the symbols and words as you draw them in the air. Now move back to the west of the altar and face east. So, step 6, put down the dagger, pick up the cup and sprinkle the talisman with a few drops of water. After dipping your fingers in the cup, say, I purify with water. Now, if the ink might run, sprinkle toward the talisman but not on it. Now pick up the incense and wave it over the talisman and say, I consecrate with fire. Pick up the talisman in your left hand and the dagger from the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram in the right hand. Tap the talisman 3 times with the tip of the dagger's blade. Next, hold the talisman and dagger point up above your head and stamp your left foot between the following spoken words. Alright, so it's going to be so, 1 stomp, moat, 1 stomp, it, 1 stomp, be, 1 stomp. There we go. So a stomp after each. So, stomp, moat, stomp, it, stomp, be, stomp. Whew. Alright, finally, knock slowly 3 times on the altar with the hilt of the dagger, the end of the dagger. Step 7, still holding the talisman and the dagger, move in a clockwise direction and walk around, circumambulate, there's that word, I love it, circumambulate, the altar once and continue until you just go past the south and say, unpurified and unconsecrated, thou canst not enter the gate of the west. Alright. Put the talisman on the ground and, always moving in a clockwise direction, go to the altar. Place the dagger down and bring the cup to the talisman. Dip your finger in the water and sprinkle a few drops of water on or towards the talisman while saying, I purify with water. Oh, I purify the water. Go to the altar and replace the cup. Take the incense and bring it to the talisman. As you wave it over the talisman, say, I consecrate with fire. Go to the altar and replace the incense. Pick up the dagger and return to the talisman, which you also pick up with your left hand, and say, creature of talisman or amulets, twice purified and twice consecrated, thou mayest approach the gateway of the west. Now you're going to want to move to the west and look out in that direction. Tap the talisman once with the tip of the blade of the dagger and say, before thou canst come into the light, thou must first come out of the darkness. Yet fear not the darkness of the west, for there is no place that God and the light of God are not. Therefore take on manifestation before me without fear. For in the west is he in whom fear is not. And now that thou knowest this is truth, pass thou on. So here is the little tiny, very, very tiny little, yes, for your talisman. So you have your altar and the place where you are to stand with your talisman. Alright. This is really long. Step 8. Oh, here's my favorite word again. Circumambulate, the circle once. Then go around again until you just pass the north, and say, unpurified and unconsecrated, thou canst not enter the path of the east. As in step 7, purify with water and consecrate with fire, saying the appropriate phrases. Then pick up the talisman in your left hand. Your right hand has the dagger, and say, creature of talismans, or amulet, thrice purified and thrice consecrated, thou mayest approach the gateway of the east. Now you're going to move to the east and face outward in that direction. Hold the talisman and dagger on high, and say, to become a talisman, or amulet, strong and true, thou must pass from darkness into light, from death into life. To do this requires the light which shines from within the darkness, through the darkness, comprehendeth it not. By the will of God I can control a speck of that light, which ariseth in darkness. I am the exorcist in the midst of the exorcism. Therefore take on manifestation before me, for I am the wielder of the forces of balance. Now pass thou unto the double cubical altar of the universe. Ooh, a little bit of exorcism going on in there. Step 9. Return to the west of the altar and face east. With the dagger used in the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, redraw all of the symbols and sigils drawn on the talisman as done earlier. Repeat 2. The ad-lib invocations only end by saying, thus do I potently conjure and exorcise thee. Quickly put down the dagger and pick up the rainbow wand by the appropriate band in your right hand. Hold both the wand and the talisman on high and cry out, creature of talismans, long hast thou dwelt in the darkness of unlife. Quit the night and seek the day. Step 10. Place the talisman back on the altar and hold the rainbow wand vertically over it and say, by all the names, powers, and rituals already rehearsed, recited, and performed, I conjure upon thee power and might irresistible, Cobs Pect, Nox Pax, light and extension, as the light hidden in darkness can manifest. Therefrom, so shalt thou become irresistible. Alright, these are some very different invocations. Step 11. Now hold the ritual wand in front of you and perform the middle pillar ritual. Begin to cycle the energy through you, down the front as you exhale, and up the back on the inhalation in the ritual of the circulation of the body of light. So now, when you feel the energy flowing, make the sign of the Emperor, which is this. Yeah, basically, that's that. Alright, as in the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, but towards the talisman resting on the altar. So your right hand should hold the rainbow wand on the appropriate color with your index finger, pointing along the wand, so that the wand becomes an extension of your arm and hand. So, as you give this sign, look down your arms directly at the talisman. Know that this ritual gesture is also known as the projecting sign, and that you are projecting the energy raised in the middle pillar and controlled in the circulation of the body of light. Feel it flow down your arms and out of you. Sense it congeal within the talisman, and at the same time watch the talisman. When you see a twinkle of light or a slight movement of the sigils on the talisman, it will be charged. Step 12. Immediately stand straight up. Go straight and tap the back end of the rainbow wand 3 times on the floor and say, "It is done." Step 13. Now hold your hands in the air. The rainbow wand is in your right hand. And say, "Let the white brilliance of the divine spirit descend upon this creature of talismans," amulet, "and fill it with the glory of the majesty, that it may be unto me an aid to aspire to the great work. Now you're going to draw an invoking earth pentagram with the rainbow wand in the air over the talisman. So it's dot, 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 dot. So up. It's always got to go up. So see it in bright blue and say, Glory be unto thee, Lord of land of life, for thy splendor flows out rejoicing, even to the ends of the universe. Wow. Wow, step 14. This is a lot. I feel blurry. There we go. Not so blurry anymore. Alright. Now step 14, put up the talisman in your left hand and hold it so that it can be seen from outside the circle. Alright, now circumambulate, ooh, I love that word, around the circle while saying, Behold all powers and forces that are here in attendance. I am pure, I am pure, I am pure. Take witness that I have duly exercised, purified, initiated, enlivened, consecrated, empowered this creature of talismans or amulets by the power of stop, vibrate the name of planet, and form the sign of the planet in the air with the rainbow wand. Then continue on with the aid of stop, vibrate, and draw the god name. And by the exaltation of my own higher nature. Wow. Yeah, this is a lot. Step 15. Return to the west of the altar and face east. Place the talisman in the center of the altar and pick up the air dagger. Touch the tip of the blade to the talisman and say, by the powers of air. Replace the dagger. Touch the earth pentagram to the talisman and say, end of earth. Replace the pentagram and touch the fire wand to the talisman and say, end of fire. Put down the fire wand and sprinkle some water from the elemental cup on or toward. You don't want to ruin your talismans. The talisman as you say, end of water. Now, put down the cup and pick up the rainbow wand by the white band, hold it on high and say, and by the secret names of the divine presence who works in silence, and whom naught but silence can express, I declare by my rights earned, by my practice of the arts magical, that this talisman, or amulet, is charged and consecrated, so mote it be. Alright, so, step 16. Put the talisman in the bag which you have prepared for it. And place it on your person, whether it is for you or not, and say, not unto me, but unto thee be the power and glory forever and ever, even beyond the end of time. I thank thee for allowing me to enter even thus far into the temple of the divine mysteries. Or you may add ad lib appropriately, so anything from the heart. So part 4, the banishings. Perform the closing by watchtower, and this ritual is now complete. So, alright, we will move on to a few more. Well, actually, alright, we'll finish this one right now. So, all of the rules concerning what to do with talismans after they have achieved their goal or have exceeded their time limit apply to those talismans charged with this ritual. So until you break down all the trappings of your area, it is still a temple and should be treated as such. Until you put everything away, be sure to walk clockwise in your temple. The end of the ritual does not end the spiritual qualities of the area. You will have noticed that the phases of this ritual are mentioned earlier do not easily match the parts of this ritual. This is because the phases overlap and do not occur in seclusion and isolated from the other phases. So part of the preparation for Grey Magic ritual is total understanding of that ritual. So before performing this ritual, you should study it so that you can spot where each of these phases take place and how they intercept or interpenetrate each other. So that's interesting. It's a very interesting and very long ritual to charge a talisman. Alright, now before going on to the next lesson in this book, he states, I strongly urge the following. 1. Design and create at least 2 talismans, charge and consecrate 1 by the way of the simple ritual, and 1 by the way of the complete ritual. You can do more if you like. I like the simple ritual the best. I mean, it's the best. 2. Spend some time reading at least 1 book on tarot. Look especially for philosophical books rather than how to give a reading books. So the bibliography for this lesson lists several of his favorites. So in the next lesson, I will explain how to work with grimoires. So these are some of the most famous of magical texts. Unfortunately, many of them are either incomplete, such as the Arbatel of Magic, are questionable, such as the Necronomicon, and too time-consuming, such as Abramelin, are too rare and expensive. So, yeah, that's very true. Therefore, ouch, throat. Allergy season sucks. Can't wait to get my nose broken. Therefore, I will be basing the lesson, on 2 texts, which are reasonably priced and available at many occult bookstores. The books are The Greater Key of Solomon and the Goetia, which is a section of the Lesser Key of Solomon. Both are available in more than 1 edition. Any edition will do, since they are virtually copies of each other. So if you can obtain these 2 books. I think a lot of us have those books. Okay, alright, he says, I have talked often about how most self-professed magicians take a great deal but do nothing. Oh, talk a great deal but do nothing. He goes on to say, I know many people who have the lesser and greater keys and have looked through them but never practiced the rituals or techniques which are within them. So there are many reasons for this, but the primary 3 reasons are based on fear and egotism. 1. They don't have enough knowledge to do them. They are afraid that if they seek out the knowledge, that they will learn just how little they know, and expose themselves for not being the great occultists they claim to be. 2. They fear the rituals and don't even wish to try them. Even worse, they are afraid of what might happen if they are successful and cannot control the powers they summon. 3. They're afraid that even if they try them and then fail, it will show that they are not as good as they claim to be, or it will prove to them that magic is fake and that they have wasted years of their lives in its study. No, it's not fake, I can guarantee you that. Again, if you do not own these books, I urge you to obtain them. Everything you will need to try out. Some of the rituals will be printed in the next lesson, but these books give advanced information along the lines of the Kabbalistic correspondence charts. So, they give lists of powers or entities who are appropriate to deal with when seeking to obtain certain items or qualities. So if you have these books, or if you obtain them soon, do not try any of the rituals before going through the next lesson. You can't get hurt like so many seem to fear, but you will be wasting your time. So the next lesson will include the information that you need, which makes the grimoires workable. Furthermore, these books deal with the magical evocation and bringing the visible appearance entities from higher levels of reality. So back in the beginning of this course, I told you that you would not be summoning anything up. How, then, can something be evoked to visible appearance without summoning it? I promise you that you will learn this and more. You will learn the true secret of magical evocation, and you will see that the rituals in the grimoires are the first, which are easier to do in groups and harder, but not impossible, to do by yourself. Virtually pure ceremonial magic. Alright, tomorrow we will go on to lesson 9. Where's my bookmark? There it is. So that was a really, really long ritual. That's very long. So do you guys plan on doing any of these? Any of them at all? Oh, okay. Yeah, that was long. So, again, Modern Magic, 11 Lessons, The High Magical Arts by Donald Michael Craig. Very good book. Very, very big book. And you can get it cheap. You can get it awfully cheap. Bargain Books, I think, is where I got mine. For like $8, $6. I think it was actually $6.66 after tax and shipping. So, alright guys, I hope you enjoy. Thank you all for watching. And I love you all. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. All my love. All the way from Venus. All the way back down. So everybody have a good day, be safe, have a good weekend, and I love you all.